to be my top 10 games that you've likely never heard of. Now, some people are going to have heard of some of these games, but these are some games that I really like that I don't feel like that I hear a lot about. Now, I'm making this a top 10 list, but I plan on coming back to this over and over and over again just to shine a little light on some games that we may not hear of. So while this can only include the games that I've played, it also will include hopefully some games that you haven't heard of. So maybe all 10 of these, maybe 2 of these, maybe 1 of these will be games that you have not heard of, but hopefully by watching this video that you will maybe hear of some different games and bring them in. So let's get started. My number 10 game that you've likely not heard of is Chang Cheng. Now, I did a review on this game. This is an abstract game. It's an older one. Comes in a big box about building the Great Wall of China with some invaders coming in, and you have to place these things in order to play action cards and to score. I found this game, while dated a bit, or it's been out of the market for a while, I found this to be a great game and probably one ripe for a reprint. The components are good. The gameplay is fun. It's light. It plays quick. Chang Cheng. This is a game that maybe you'd want to check out. And I find it just completely forgotten about with time. Well, it's not something that's going to be a world beater. It's a very good game that I'm surprised gets absolutely no pub anymore. Now, Victory Point games don't have a wide distribution, I don't think so, or a lot of people who buy them. But I think they have a core of people who really like them. And AD 30 is a game about the life of Jesus that I found not only of subject matter that I enjoyed and a topic and a theme that I liked, but a very good game in the box. It's a completely solo game, which knocked out some gamers already, but this is actually a good game with a little bit of luck and some good decisions made in there, and you kind of can change history about how it went down, who was included, and it's really fun. If you can get over the blasphemy or the fictional character kind of thing of it, and just understand it's a game, I think you can go into it and you can really enjoy yourself in this one. People like solo games. I always bring this game up, and people have never heard of it. So AD 30. Garden Dice is my next game, number 8. And what it is a light dice roll, but you're using a dice to place on a grid, and you're planting and watering things and then cultivating the vegetables off of it to score points and set collecting. It's a really neat little game. I had heard a little bit about it. I believe it was Kickstarted. And it's one of those games that I'm surprised more people don't talk about, probably because they haven't played it. This is a really good game that should be picked up for wider distribution. That's not. It has a really neat little card expansion that goes with it to kind of add some wackiness and some powers to it. That's kind of neat. Speeds things up for me. But Garden Dice, I've done a review on this one and the expansion. It is a hidden gem, really. If you have a family like that type of game, this is one that's going to strike right to you. My number 7 is Basket Boss. Now, this has a sports theme with the basketball, but it's not a simulation game. Instead, it's like a light Euro where you are buying players and hoping that their performance will increase your points. Don't let the theme of sports scare you off. This is a light Euro through and through. It's not about winning basketball games. It's about getting the players and scoring points through these auctions, and it works, and people can get injured, and it's really neat. But it takes a bit of a longer approach to it than a game, a regular basketball game. It's not about scoring how many points, etc. I found this game to be very, very good. I'm surprised it comes from a small publisher that maybe that's why. It's not going to blow your socks off. It's not this deep simulation. I think the theme may be off-putting to gamers a lot, but this is one that if you want a little bit lighter of a Euro and you're looking for a little bit different of a theme that can bring people in, I think basketballs could definitely be it. Now, my number 6 is going to be Kings of Israel. This is a game that borrows slightly heavily from Pandemic, which in this case is a good thing. It does play a little bit differently, and it brings something a little bit different to the table, but it also brings that Christian theme into it, maybe Jewish theme into it. And so if you're looking for a Christian-based game, this may be it because there's actually a game in the box. It's not just a cheap ripoff with cheap components. This thing is pretty nice. There's a lot of Pandemic clones. You got the Fire Rescue. You got Atlantis Uprising. There's a few of them that kind of play a lot like Pandemic. So I don't hold it back for that, but it gives you something a little bit different with a different theme. Give this one a shot. Give this one a look, especially if you're looking for something maybe to play on a Sunday if you're the church-going crowd. But that's Kings of Israel. My number 5 is Argonauts. Now, this is a cooperative game that's based on Jason and the Argonauts. I believe it may have had a limited release, but mostly just a Kickstarter. The artwork is phenomenal in this game. The gameplay is really tight, really fun game. I've lost some, I've won some. It's got a difficulty level that makes it get harder. This is a really neat co-op game that also can be played solo. Highly recommend you check out the Argonauts. I think it's flew right under the radar, and I'm putting it at number 5. Number 5 that you should check out. Number 4 for me is going to be Bruxelles 1893. This is a game that when you first look at it, you're like, what the heck is going on here? There's a clock, and there's this weird artwork that gives you a headache and makes your eyes go crisscross. But man, this was a game that was really neat to pull together. And really, there's just 5 possible actions, really. You got get art, get cubes, sell art, build a building, and get a person. But with those 5 actions, there's a lot packed in, a lot of different ways to score. And the best way to score, and to put all this together, I like that mental exercise. And this is a game I really hadn't heard a lot about. I think of everything on this list, maybe one other. This is probably the most well-known. But I think it kind of got lost in the shuffle. Or at least not a lot of people I know play this game. So Bruxelles 1893, recommended you check out. The rule book's a little rough, but I think you can get through it. My number 3 game is Fire Team Zero. I've done a review on this. It's a really fun adventure game where you're going on these missions and fighting these monsters and aliens, and it's really good. It's almost, I don't want to say Descent Killer or anything like that. It's probably better than the Ghostbusters game that made all the money. It's a really neat game. It's a unique, neat little universe that you're playing in. I really like how this one works, and I recommend if you like dudes on a map, chucking some dice, going through the missions and all that, wonderful, wonderful miniatures, I highly recommend you check this one out. And I don't think it had a big, wide distribution at all, but the Kickstarter was successful. Now, I may be cheating a tad on number 2. I'm not privy to any information about sales or how things go, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about this game, which is Shakespeare. I know it's a little bit bigger of a publisher. They don't publish a whole lot of games, but it's not a game I've heard a lot about. It's almost like I hear about it and whisper, Shakespeare, try it. Oh, I don't like Shakespeare. But the art is phenomenal. It looks so great. And it's so tight and so fun, and victory points are so scarce in this game. Shakespeare is one of my favorite Euros of all time. Love this game. And really, I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. I feel like this might be the biggest cheat on the list because I'm not privy to that information. I wonder if a lot of people watching this have maybe heard of it but not played it yet. I say break that barrier down, get Shakespeare to the table, play that game. It's well worth it. Now, as for my number 1, I don't mean for it to be the cheat. I know it's not in America yet, so we haven't heard of it. And pretty soon it's going to be released by Stronghold, and I think everybody will have heard of it. It's one of the strongest board game companies to me. But it's Kraftwagen right now. And as of this, right now, it's not available in America. It's only, I think, in German. Or it's language independent, maybe in Europe somewhere. I was at Dice Tower, somebody came by and said, oh, I'm from Germany. And it says Kraftwagen on it. He was really excited. So, this is a wonderful game right now that's underneath the radar. When it comes out for, if you don't get it now, if you do get it through Stronghold, this is a fantastic game. Everybody who plays it ends up liking it. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about it. Yes, it will be well known. If you're watching this in the future, it may be well known. You're like, what is this guy talking about? But as of right now, not a lot of people have heard about this game. People are starting to because Stronghold is talking about it. But this is a game that's well worth. One of my biggest surprises when I sat down to play it. I had never heard of it. And I absolutely adore and love this game. So number one, as of right now, is Kraftwagen.